I am very pleased this morning to welcome the teams from both the Department of Revenue and Commerce from the City of Philadelphia. For those of us who file taxes in Philadelphia, who own businesses in particular, which is, of course, most of our members here, this is going to be important information given several tax changes it appears are happening for this fiscal year. So with it, I'm going to turn this over to our experts. And Rebecca Lopez Chris is going to kick it off for us. So thanks, everyone.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you so much to the entire Electrical Association of Philadelphia. It's a pleasure to be here, and partnerships like this are so important. I'm joined today by a number of revenue colleagues, myself, Elias Gonzalez, who's our new communications manager, Rochelle McJett-Beatty, and Rahul Sharma, who I don't have on the slide, are both here as technical experts. So if you have questions during the webinar, please put them in the chat. We'll monitor that chat and we'll make sure that we can get back to you. I'm also joined here by my commerce colleagues. Leslie Acosta is here. She'll be talking after me about some of the programs and supports that the city is offering for small businesses. It's very exciting stuff. I am the bearer of not great news, but Leslie gets to tell you about all kinds of ways that you can take advantage of programs that will support and help you grow your business. Okay, so we're going to just kind of get right into it. We're going to talk about, I'm going to do a very, very high level look at the top taxes in Philadelphia, the top business taxes in Philadelphia, and as well as the tax changes that we're going to see that affect this tax year for when you file in April. Very quickly, I'll talk about the tax center, and then also we always include slides about how to connect with us or how to ask us your questions in the future. Okay, but just a note. So we only talk about City of Philadelphia taxes. So we don't talk about sales tax or personal income tax. Those are Pennsylvania taxes. So I'm not a Pennsylvania tax expert. But the big takeaway here is that if you're not working with a professional, please work with a professional. A professional is the person who's going to understand your business best. And the Department of Revenue is not able to offer you tax advice. There's definitely tax advantaged ways to operate your business. And unfortunately, we're not able to talk about it. We're not able to offer you that advice because we don't know your business as well as a professional or as, the unique challenges that your business might have. All right. So again, this presentation is not meant to make you an expert. It's meant more to help you just have a broad understanding of what is out there. We often do this presentation and it's scheduled for an hour and a half to 2 hours at the BRIC, at the Free Libraries Business Center, or with the CCP's Power Up program. We'll do this presentation for 2 hours, and even then, I don't think it's really as comprehensive as an expert would be. But it's meant to just kind of help you understand what the business taxes are and how they interact. All right, so baseline. The city has two major business taxes. One, we're going to start with, is the business income and receipts tax. Everyone pays this tax. It is corporations, LLCs, partnerships. Everyone pays it if you're doing activity in Philadelphia, on your sales in Philadelphia. There are two parts to the business income and receipts tax. One is on the gross receipts, all your sales in Philadelphia, and one is on the net income, which is the profit of the business. And we'll show you what that sort of looks like in a couple of slides. The due date is the same every year as your federal taxes. That's April 15th. All right. The thing that is really important that I think sometimes people don't understand is that what is taxable is your activity in Philadelphia. Where are you doing your work? Since this is the Electricians Association, I am assuming that most of you are in business that you sell service. Those services are only taxable when in a location in Philadelphia. So if you're servicing folks in Bucks County or in Monco or wherever else, those sales are not taxable here in Philadelphia for the BIRT. So that is one reason it is so important that you keep very good records and keep those records separate of what did you do outside of Philly and what did you do inside of Philly. One thing that I want to talk about really quickly, although I feel like I need to rearrange this slide. Uh, prior to now, this is my bad news slide. Prior to now, folks who did less than $100,000 worth of business in Philadelphia did not have a filing liability or did not have a tax liability or a filing requirement. However, that policy of exempting the first $100,000 of your sales, we're not allowed to do anymore. It's been deemed unconstitutional. The city got sued, and so we've had to change the policy. So the result of us getting sued is that everyone else will pay more, which is really unfortunate. I'm very sorry, and I wish that it was a different message to give you. We are trying to make that change as easy as possible. Again, like that's why Leslie's presentation is so important, but also I'm getting a text and I want to make sure it is not about this presentation. Okay. Sometimes like staff will text and say, hey, we can't hear you. But okay. The good news is if you were one of those businesses who were operating in Philadelphia, but you did less than $100,000 worth of business, the we will treat you as if you're a new business and allow you to delay your estimated payments. And we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. So generally speaking, what happens is if you started your business in 2025, this is for all new businesses, okay? Whenever it, and from ever and ever, if you start a new business here in Philadelphia or your buddy starts a new business here in Philadelphia, the year they start their business and they make all their sales, the following year is the year that they're going to have to pay their taxes. Generally, for everyone else, you would also have to pay your tax bill for 2025 and an estimated payment for 2026, even though you're like still in the middle of 2026. This is a policy that is across federal and state taxes as well. So you make quarterly estimated payments to the IRS, and you make quarterly estimated payments to the state. Unfortunately, in Philadelphia, we require a 100% payment all in one lump sum when you file your return in April. If you're brand new, though, we don't make you do that. We don't make you pay the estimate. What we're going to do instead is that you just are going to pay on your activity for 2025. Then you're going to run your business in 2026. And when you file in 2027, you have the opportunity, you'll have to pay for your activity in 2026, but you'll have the opportunity to make quarterly estimated payments towards 2027. When you get to 2028, you're just going to file 100% estimated tax for 2028 all in one lump sum. I know that sounds confusing. Let me give more of a graphic of what this sort of looks like. So if you look at the line on the bottom, in April of 2026, I don't know, let's say your first tax bill is $400 for all the activity that you did in 2025, you do not pay an estimate. When you get to April of 2027, you're going to pay for that $400 that of activity you did in 2026, plus you need to make estimated payments for 2027. Now think about it this way. When you file and pay in April 15th of 2027, you've already done a quarter of the year's business. You should have collected that tax already from your clients. So that estimated payment that you're making, that $100 extra, the estimated payment that you're making in April for 2027 is business you've already done. And so it kind of follows that way. June 15th, September 15th, and then January 15th, all along the year, you just kind of pay in installments of the business that you've already done. And then when you get to 2028, you've already paid for 2027, right? You made all those estimated payments, but we're going to expect you to make an estimated payment for 2028. Okay. I feel like we could do a whole like half hour just on like explaining how this works, but please let me know if you have more questions about this. One question that I get typically when folks file and they have to pay and they have to make an estimated payment for that current year. Generally, our policy is that you will just pay what you paid for the prior year. However, there are exceptions to that. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's sort of an expectation. If you know that next year you're going to do a ton more business, you should probably make a larger estimated payment. But if you know that in 2025 you got some sort of extra work or an extra contract or something happened where you know that 2025 was a boom year, but you know that 2026 you're going to take like a month off or 2 months off or whatever the deal is, you may make an estimated payment that is less. However, if it comes out after you file and it comes out that like you actually owe money, you owe more than what you paid, we will charge you interest and penalty, right? What we don't want to have happen is for businesses to say, I'm not going to do any business. I'm not going to pay you an estimate. That's not what we want to have happen. We want people to make honest estimated payments about what kind of business they're going to do in Philadelphia. I had mentioned that you're only taxed on the stuff that you do in Philadelphia, the sales in Philadelphia. If you're doing stuff outside of Philadelphia and you're doing stuff inside of Philadelphia, we want to figure out how much of your profits are taxable. Okay, so it is like, I don't know if you remember, I said BIRT has two parts. One is on the gross receipts, all your sales, and one is on the profit. The gross receipts are super easy for us to figure out, right? Where did the activity happen? Like, is in Philly or it's not, right? That's easy. What's a lot harder is to figure out, well, how much profit did you make off of your sales in Philadelphia? Now, we don't make you like evaluate every single sale and decide like how much profit you made off of each like job. What we do instead is say, all right, we're going to create a simple formula. What were all your receipts? How much sales did you have in Philadelphia? How much were your total sales? And that creates a percentage, right? 50% of my sales were, I did $50,000 worth of sales in Philly. I did $100,000 worth of sales total. 50% of what we would say is, okay, well, 50% of your profit is attributable to Philly. So at the end of the year, when you have this like amount of profit, you're going to apply 50% to it. And then that's what you're going to pay. That's what's taxable in Philadelphia. Again, that's not a hard and fast rule. That is generally how we view it. You can ask for alternate apportionment. That's for very sophisticated taxpayers. I will say that though. Very like, do you have some sort of situation in which the profitability of your business in Philadelphia is different than your profitability in your business, in your sales somewhere else? You can request of the department an evaluation for alternate apportionment. We will look at it. I will tell you though, that sometimes businesses like to like request it just because they don't want to pay the tax or they want to come up with some sort of reason why they shouldn't have to pay the tax. And that won't fly. If there's a legitimate reason that somehow the regular apportionment formula doesn't work for your business, we can talk about it, but it's got to be legitimate. Okay, here's something really, really important for you guys to know. If you have done business starting in tax year 2022, if you did business, but you were operating at a loss and you filed that, you can carry those losses now up to 20 years. For the state, you can carry losses forward indefinitely. Same with the federal government, with the IRS. If you've had losses, you can hold on to those to apply them to future taxable sales forever. In Philly, it's a 20-year span. So if you were one of those businesses who didn't have to file, but you had losses in 2022, 2023, or 2024, you may want to amend your returns so that those losses are in our system and you can carry them forward now that you will have a filing requirement. So unfortunately, because I can't interact with you, I would normally ask the group, like, if you know what a loss carry forward is and help explain that. Like, it's just basically like it helps smooth over the profits and losses from your business over time. The important lesson here is talk to a professional. And if you have losses, and you haven't filed in Philadelphia, you may want to do that so that you can take advantage of that accounting rule. Okay, that is the tiny sliver about BIRT, but I only have about 10 minutes left, so I want to get to the net profits tax. This is essentially everyone pays the net profits tax, sole proprietors, partnerships, LLCs, except corporations. And there's a specific reason for that. Essentially, when you've got your business, now don't confuse the net profits tax with the net profits portion of BIRT. These are two separate taxes. The net profits tax is essentially like the profits from your business are essentially your income. Okay. If you owned a corporation, you would just be on payroll for your corporation, even as the owner. You will be on payroll or whatever your compensation package looks like, but it would be subject to wage tax. Those earnings, those wages that you get from your business. In this case, you're not on payroll. Wage tax isn't being withheld on those earnings. So what you pay instead is the net profits tax. Corporations don't pay net profits, but some rental income may be subject to it. Also, there is a big credit against what you've paid on BIRT towards your net profits. So in the past, you might not have paid very much BIRT, but you paid full freight on net profits. Well, now that you're going to start paying BIRT, you'll get a little bit of a break on that net profits. It's not going to even out totally, but you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Again, work with a professional to help you figure out what this is. If you live in Philadelphia, you're going to pay net profits on 100% of your earnings, right? The profits of your business are your paycheck. So if you live here, you'll pay 100% just like wage tax, and the rate tracks wage tax. Now, if you don't live in Philadelphia, but you're doing business in Philly, you will pay net profits on the profits that you earn in Philadelphia. Okay. I'm not quite sure what this group is composed of, but that's one thing to understand. You also may need to make estimated payments on net profits. Again, talk to a professional. All right, here's a very simple example that I hope helps explain how these taxes interact. This is for tangible personal property. The example still works if if all your sales are in Philadelphia. You made $125,000 and you had $50,000 in profit. This doesn't take into account any deductions or any expenses, any of that stuff. We're going to ignore that for now. So you'll see in the first line for BIRT, you had $125,000 worth of sales. The rate is 0.001410, which by the way is going down. The liability, then your tax bill is $176. Your profit was 50 grand. The rate is 0.0571, also going down. So it's important that you file the correct years as you're filing, because the rates are different every year. City Council has put it into law that those rates are declining over time. So your total BIRT liability is $3,031. For NPT, you're going to pay $50,000. You're going to pay net profits on $50,000. The rate, like I said, follows wage tax, so it's 0.0374. However, you get a credit of 60% on whatever you paid in the profit side on the net income portion of BIRT. So you paid $2,800 in BIRT, you're going to get a $1,700 credit. Now your NPT bill is $157. Your total tax bill is about $3,200. What did this look like before? When we had that $100,000 exemption, your BIRT bill would have been $606, but your profits would have been the same, $50,000, and you'd pay $1,800, but there's almost no credit. So your net profits bill is much, much higher. It's about a difference of $900 or about $1,000. And I know that that's not great, but I think this sort of illustrates what it looked like before versus what it looked like what it will look like now. I don't love that everyone will pay more. However, it's not, I think, as dire as people are afraid of. Really, if you're making profit in Philly, that's when taxes really affect you. I'm gonna skip use and occupancy for time. If you have employees, I hope you have a wage tax account. If you have employees, you are required to withhold wage tax if you operate in Pennsylvania. If they live in Philadelphia, you're required to withhold for all of their activity. If your employees don't live in Philly, you're only going to withhold for the activity that happened in Philadelphia if they're required to work in Philadelphia, when they're required to work in Philadelphia. Wage tax is another tax that we could have a whole 30 minutes or an hour to talk about. All right. The thing that I want to point out on this slide, two things. The business income and receipts tax is, again, we talked about it, that $100,000 exclusion has gone away. It doesn't apply for 2025 business activity. So everyone will be required to file in 2026. You may or may not have a tax liability depending on how your business went. But the thing to keep in mind is that rates are continuing to decline. So incrementally, one thing to keep in mind is that there are gradual reductions through fiscal year 39, which I know is like hilarious. It sounds like it's like 15 years away. But in 4 years, the city has a big bill due, like a pension bond payment is due. So there are small reductions up until that point. When you reach that point, then legislated in the law are much faster reductions after fiscal year 29. Then you'll see eventually that the gross receipts portion of BIRT is supposed to go down to 0% in fiscal year 39, and that net income portion will be down to 2.8% in fiscal year 39. Here we go. All right. Let me know if there's any issues with the screen. So that's a really big deal. That essentially changes our tax structure over the next 15 years in a way that allows the city to plan for and to not be in financial straits because of it. But keep an eye on that. Every year, those rates are going to be a little bit different. The other thing to keep in mind with use and occupancy, which is on the use of real estate in Philadelphia that's being used for a business, there used to be a $2,000 exemption every year. That is also going away, like with the $100,000 exemption. So starting in January, folks will see that if you file that tax, that their max tax is going to increase just a little bit. That's a tax that typically, if you have a commercial lease, is built into the lease. It's not always, but just to be aware, if you are renting property in Philadelphia, and using it for your business, you are subject to use and occupancy tax. Again, with the rates, they're very, very slowly going down. The net profits tax, wage tax, and earnings tax, all basically different sides of the coin of the same tax, are continuing to go down incrementally over time. Eventually, by fiscal year 30, it'll be 3.7 for residents and 3.39 for non-residents. And I don't know how many folks this would impact. There was some talk about eliminating the development impact tax. That did not happen in the last year. But what had happened is the city's now exempting certain affordable housing projects from the tax, which have to be certified through planning. It's, like if you're working on like a LIHTC project or something like that, those types of things are turnkey projects. That's like affordable housing. All of those are exempted from the development impact tax. I don't know how much of that affects you guys, but we put it in here. If you're not using the Philadelphia Tax Center, I encourage you to do so. Tax-services.phila.gov is the official sort of site where you can file and pay. It's also where you can request a refund. You don't need a username and password if you want to just file and pay, especially if like real estate tax bills are going to come out in December. Commercial trash fee bills just are about to go out. So people start seeing those in their mailbox next week if you pay commercial trash, if you have rental property that you're subject to that. Um, you don't need a username and password, but we encourage you to have one because you can see all of your accounts all in one place. Also, it's mobile enabled, so if you're using it on a tablet or you need to like just do a quick payment on your phone or whatever it is, you can do that there. Also, if you file online, then you will always use the correct, you will always have the right rate, right? If you can choose the right year, file for that year, it will always do the math correctly. It will always calculate that credit for you correctly for the between the BIRT and the NPT. Um, and we include this slide in every presentation just so you have, when you get the presentation and you get the recording, you have kind of a record of this. One note about this presentation is it's not forever and ever. It is, rates change, programs change. This is correct as good as we can make it in this moment in time in October of 2025. But they do shift, rates change. So you'll always want to check out the latest information online at villa.gov/revenue. And we have three locations. If you want to visit us in person, if you want to apply for a payment plan, or you want to pay a bill in person, some people still like to do that. Lots of people still pay their water bill in person. Obviously, we've got the Center City location. We just reopened the North Philadelphia office, and there's an office up in the Northeast on Castor Ave. All right, so here's what you need to take away from this presentation. You need to start planning now for those changes to BIRT. If you didn't have a tax bill before, you will now. You will have a filing requirement. I'm sorry, it sucks. It's not the message I want to give you. But it is what it is from the law, from a legal perspective. And so we're hoping to get this word out and helping to provide programs that will support you through the transition. Leslie's going to talk about some really great stuff that you can apply for, including free tax prep and grants. Those aren't loans, that's a grant, like to help grow your business. You're going to be putting more money into the system. I hope that you get more money out of the system. So that's my PSA on that. Although your BIRT bill may increase, your net profits tax will likely decrease. So it's not going to equal out, but it will not be as dire as I think some people are led to believe. If you have been operating at a loss in the past from 2022, 2023, or 2024, I recommend you file previous returns to take advantage of those losses. And always work with a tax professional. I also always recommend let us know when something's not working online, or a letter is weird if you can. Like, we don't always know that something's not working until people tell us, like, hey, I tried to file my BIRT and then it wouldn't let me file my NPT until the next day. Well, that's not what we want to have happen. But we didn't know that until some tax professionals told us that at an event. So we do take that feedback into consideration. We do look at how we can make improvements kind of constantly. So please let us know if you see stuff that doesn't seem to be acting right, or like, please don't assume that like it's just broken and nobody at the city cares, because we really do care. That's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Leslie. I'll stop sharing my screen. And I'm going to guess, I don't see any questions in the chat, but I'm going to guess that has related to the fact that like we can't see the attendees. So we can, if folks want to reach out to us, we're happy to take any of those questions. Sarah, maybe you can help facilitate that, or whatever else we can do.
Yep. Rebecca, if I could just hop in really quick. Any questions that anyone may have, Sarah, feel free to forward them to me, and then I will make sure that I follow up and get the responses.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. That's great.
Thank you. Thank you for, again, thanks again to, thank you for having this meeting and giving us an opportunity to share this information. We're always, and for anyone else who's watching, we also, we will show up to anything. We will show up. We like to joke that we'll show up at your baby's baptism, to talk about real estate tax relief programs. We'll talk about business taxes. We will talk about anything, anywhere. So if there is an opportunity, at your church or at your community group or wherever you might be hanging out, let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca, for the presentation. And my name is Leslie Acosta. I am the Outreach and Engagement Manager for the Department of Commerce. I would like to introduce my colleague, Ting Wong, who is the Director of Business Advocacy for the Department of Commerce. And so, we're going to pivot here in just a second. And the tax BIRT had some collateral damages, and therefore we want to be able to offset some of those damages by programs that I'm going to be presenting today that can help grow your business and kind of help with funding if you see any of the programs that we'll be talking today fits the profile, right, of what you're seeking. And so today, quickly, I want to talk about what we do here at Commerce, right? We're going to quickly talk about the Commerce overview, the Philadelphia Free Business Tax Assistance Program, additional business resources and programs, and then what the Mayor's Business Action Team they do here at the Commerce Department, and then how they complement and help businesses navigate this process. And so to start, just give you a quick overview of what we do here, right? The Commerce Department. We help businesses, whether you're a large business, a small business thriving in Philadelphia. Our goal is to help businesses, whether you're on the big spectrum or on the low spectrum, help you to thrive. Secondly, we like to attract and grow and retain a diverse set of businesses within the city of Philadelphia. We revitalize neighborhood commercial districts throughout the city in partnership with community-based organizations. That would be your CDCs, your BIDs, right? A lot of focus on commercial, specifically in commercial corridors. We provide service excellence, business education, capacity building, and also direct access to capital, right? This is what we pride ourselves here at the Commerce Department, where we do have a lot of services internally that we do provide. And the goal is to be able to not only provide this information, but for businesses to know that the services that we do provide, we pride ourselves on service excellence. And lastly, increase access to economic opportunity, right? And make it easier to do business in the city of Philadelphia, right? So that's kind of an overview, a quick one of what the Department of Commerce, what we do here at the Department of Commerce. One of the programs that is being actually in development currently as we speak here at the Department of Commerce to kind of offset some of that collateral damage of the BIRT tax and that burden that a lot of the businesses will be affected is that the city of Philadelphia, right, allotted certain amount of funding, up to $38 million to help small businesses in the city of Philadelphia with this issue that now businesses are being faced with, right? So the Commerce Department is offering the Philadelphia Free Business Tax Preparation Program. Basically, this is to provide small businesses earning less than $250,000 in revenue with free local, state, and federal tax preparation, right? That's what the program will do. It's easy. What you can do to be proactive now, you can sign up for this. So business owners may fill out the expression of interest form. If you see the link is below, it's phila.gov business tax prep. You can click on that link and you can actually fill out that expression of interest form to be notified later this year as the program launches, right? How does this work? Eligible businesses will be matched and then vetted accountants with vetted accountants and at no cost to the business owner, right? So accountants will be across the city and able to speak in multiple languages, including Spanish and Mandarin. And then services will be available in person and also virtually. Lastly, the eligibility requirement. You must be based in Philadelphia, must have a business address, or if home base, must live in Philadelphia. And so also part of the requirement is for 2024 revenue 250 or below, right? So it has to be below the 250. And one note I wanted to highlight here that landlords and property rental businesses are not eligible for this program. Okay. They're not eligible for this particular program at this time. Next, I want to pivot to one of the main new programs that we have here at the Department of Commerce. Is called the Philadelphia Small Business Catalyst Fund. This initiative was kicked off by Sherrell Parker, our mayor, to kind of infuse flexible funds and accompany that with one-on-one support. And so the Philadelphia Small Business Catalyst Fund is a grant that is being offered. It's one of our premier programs right now that we are highlighting and also pushing out to the public square, so that they can, apply for this. Catalyst Fund is a $5 million annual investment. And the goal is to accelerate growth of small businesses and entrepreneurs across the city of Philadelphia. These grants, they range from 10,000 to 50,000, right? It provides business support and advisory services to ensure long-term success of businesses. And the goal is to provide funding to businesses based on a demonstrated need, right? Growth potential, and also economic impact. Also, we want to connect businesses to comprehensive support, including business education and capital, through the Catalyst Fund. So if you're interested and you want to know more about this, if you have not applied, please do so. The Catalyst Fund, and I'll get into the eligibility requirements in a minute, but it is a good program to kind of help grow your business if you're in that need currently, right? So what is the eligibility requirement? Well, you must be located in Philadelphia, generate under 2 million in annual revenue for 2024. Your revenue, if you're under 50,000, you can be eligible for 10,000. If you're over 50,000, you're eligible for 25,000. And anything over 100, you're eligible for $50,000. The other thing is you have to have a clear expansion plan, right? And able to accelerate your business goals with targeted funding and support. So that's the idea, right? That you're able to accelerate your business goals. Registered and licensed in the city, and then you must be in compliance with city taxes. And if you're not, you must have an approved tax payment agreement to be able to qualify for the Catalyst Fund. To apply for the Catalyst Fund, we have open enrollment. This is on a rolling basis. It doesn't have a closing date. You will want to fill out the expression of interest form, and the link is at the bottom, phila.gov, Catalyst Fund. If you're eligible, you will immediately receive an invitation to apply. It's important for you to gather the list of documents that you will need to submit. And we do partner. We have partnered with the Pennsylvania CDFI network, and they may contact you to request additional information if needed in regards to your documentation. And so every applicant will receive an email within 8 to 10 weeks informing them of their grant selection outcome. If you don't receive an email from us between 8 and 10 weeks, you can always contact us to follow up with an update. You can go to catalyst@phila.gov. Again, catalyst@phila.gov. You can email us with any questions that you may have. Next, I want to talk about some of the programs that we have here, great programs that we have here at the Commerce Department, right? So if your business, your business is located on an eligible commercial corridor, there's 3 specific programs that we offer here that you could qualify for. The first one is the Storefront Improvement Program. We call it the SIP. And it provides 50% reimbursement up to 15,000 for exterior renovations. And so the requirements, you must be in an approved corridor. That's one of the requirements. Facade improvements like painting, signage, and lighting is what we offer with this particular program. The next is the in-store forgivable loan. You can get up to 100,000 for retail and food businesses opening or expanding in a targeted corridor. Businesses must be you must be retail or food related, located again in an eligible corridor. Loan is completely forgiven after the business has operated for 5 years, so that this loan can be obliterated after if your business have been operating for at least 5 years. We also have another program. It's called the Commercial Real Estate Acquisition Loan, CREO. This loan is up to 350,000 for business owners to purchase a commercial property, and you can get a grant up to 35,000 for closing costs. So this is a combination of a loan and also a grant, right? Credit score for this 550 or greater. It's basically the requirement for this. Next up, we have another program. If your business is in the process of growing, right? So we offer grants for, and we have grant programs for Philadelphia businesses that are growing. And we have 4 programs for this. We just talked about the Catalyst Fund. It's one of the programs that we just talked about. The Philadelphia Business Lending Network, PBLN. This helps businesses secure loans and grants. It provides up to 35,000 in grant funding and then match up to 50% of an approved loan. Your annual revenue for this, you have to be under 350,000. And also the new job must be located in Philadelphia. I'm sorry, that's the next one. So the requirement for this one, which is the PBLN, the only requirement, annual revenue under 350. Quality Jobs Program is the next one that I want to talk about. You can receive 7,000 per new job created, and that one for the new job that you create, it must be located in Philadelphia and offered to Philadelphia residents. Full-time permanent position offered, pay a living wage, and then provide health insurance and pay time off to qualify for the Quality Jobs Program. We also have a program called here Fair Chance Hiring Initiative. And the focus of this is to help local businesses hire and keep Philadelphians who have been impacted by the justice system. And so this program, $6 per hour wage reimbursement, one-time 500 employment retention grant for the employer, and then one-time 1,000 employment retention grant to the employee. Requirement for this, generate less than 5 million in annual revenue, and then hire Philadelphians who have been impacted by the justice system, right? The other programs that we offer, Commerce Grant programs, is for safety and emergency needs, right? So there's 3 programs. If you're interested in safety and emergency needs, you can qualify for 3 programs. One, we have the Business Security Camera Program, and this is a grant up to 75% or 3,000 of cost for eligible security enhancements citywide, right? The requirement for this, license and tax compliant, you must register your camera with the Philadelphia Police Safe Cam. Those are the 2 main requirements there. If it's an emergency grant that you're seeking, you can get up to 20,000 in grant support for businesses that are facing any type of hardship or any type of qualifying event. An example of this is, a fire, a natural disaster, the plane crash on Cottman Avenue. Those are qualifying events, and you can qualify up to 20,000. Requirement, small and micro business owners that cannot withstand a prolonged loss of revenue, and your business with an annual revenue of less than 1 million. Right. We also have the Liberty Bell Safe certification. You can get a $500 marketing a stipend from a marketing grant after completion of one full day of training courses. So you come in and you take these training courses for one full day. And the only two requirements for this: be open to the public and operating after 5 p.m. and then be in operation for at least 1 year to be able to be enrolled and to take the certification program. Next, I want to talk about what complements all of this, right? All of these programs that we have here at the Commerce Department. We have a great team here. And this team is called the Mayor's Business Action Team, right? This is the team that's the boots on the ground. And they focus on helping entrepreneurs and business owners, whether you're starting, growing, or expanding your business. This is the actual team that really helps businesses connect with resources, connect with how to start a business. If you're having any hiccups in the process of your business, this is the team that helps untangle. And it's really the front door, right, to getting assistance and to getting help. And so we have business support, which offers one-on-one support and guidance to Philadelphia businesses. They help address challenges as your business is growing. Next, we have the business service manager. So these managers, there's 9, and these managers are assigned by council district. We have 10 council districts, and so they're assigned in each council district. And then the uniqueness of this is that they provide personalized assistance in multiple languages, right? So this is a very unique unit within the Commerce Department, and they really, really help small businesses at all stages of the business. We have also, that team has business navigators. And so these navigators, they connect businesses to financing and lending opportunity. Currently, there's 2 business navigators that are assigned to all council districts. And so these business navigators, they manage complex cases that require coordination between multiple city departments to achieve effective solutions. So the business navigator really, they focus more on complex cases that businesses might be going through. And then lastly, this team, they provide technical assistance, right? They connect businesses to financing and lending opportunity. They make referrals for business education, professional services, and guidance. And so this is the team that really complements everything that we just talked about today, from cradle to grave, right? And so all of these programs that we talked about, if you contact an MBAT team, they're able to kind of guide you and direct you. To contact anyone from the Mayor's Business Action Team, you can call at 215-683-2100. Again, you can call them at 215-683-2100, and the email is business@phila.gov. If you have any questions, any concerns, anything that you're currently going through in your business, or if you want to learn more about any of the programs that we just addressed, discussed, and presented today, you can email mbatrep@business@phila.gov to get further information if you need that. Now, I want to open up the discussion. Any questions that you might have of any of the programs that we just presented, any questions for Rebecca, any questions for me, this is the time to do so.
Thank you, Leslie. Unfortunately, we've had a technical glitch, so we are presenting to no one at the moment, but I suspect
Okay.
there will be questions both after we send this out. And I think it makes sense to do this again, if your schedules permit, in the spring of next year, just prior to filing, because I think that, there was a lot of information here, both from Rebecca's presentation on the changes to BIRT and NPT, as well as some of the resources I'd like to dig in further on for some of our members that are available.
Absolutely.
Thanks to your presentation today. I wasn't aware of some of these, so that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So again, thank you. We will be sending out the recording, and we will also funnel any questions that we get over to Ian to disperse further than that. But again, everyone, thank you so much for your time this morning. We apologize
Thank
for the
you.
technical issues, but we're glad that we were able to get this done, and we'll get it out to our network here shortly.